Okay, got it. I think Srini can edit it even whatever I say. So, I mean, honestly, I wanted to join these sessions for quite some time. I used to read some personality development books. Like there is one book that I read when I was in college, Anthony Hopkins, Awaken the Giant Within, and then I used to read Endamuri Virendranath books like No Mancha Mai Vikadu, Vijayaniki Aidu Metlu, something like that. So, but this session, yeah, this coming to this session, I learned one thing today, that you're supposed to, listen to what you listen, what you're supposed to listen. So that I will take it. Sometimes, yeah, I do feel bad that I did miss on something, but now I realized I don't have to. So I will take that with me. Yeah, going forward in my life. Other
Thank you.
than that, yeah, I definitely like to join these sessions more. Maybe, yeah, when our time permits. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Vijay, and thank you for joining, because what you have shared has added value not just to me but to everybody who is listening. Because we are, like I was giving the example, we are hot air balloons, and we don't need to be better, we don't need to transform, we don't need to change into something else. Even though society tells us, do this you'll be better, do that you'll be better, right? But if we are hot air balloons tied down on the ground, tied down by sandbags, we just need to realize to cut the sandbags. And it's a very difficult thing, it's a lifelong process for many, and most of us don't even realize that. So the guilt, the lack of self-awareness
Mhm.
keeps those sandbags. It could be cultural conditioning, it could be limited beliefs, it could be childhood, whatever it is, right? Conditioning. So these sessions are there to make us aware that, oh, that's a sandbag. Oh, I don't need to be using it. It's not serving its purpose anymore. And we learn to cut it off. So these sessions, I make them very interactive. I want everybody participating and sharing, because how I see people is that we're all hot air balloons. We could be trapped and we have these unseen chains. But when
Yeah.
each of us shares, we give permission to the other that, oh, so it's okay, I can actually cut it off. And so when we take off, that's our natural satta chitta ananda, the existence of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, before we leave, so this session interested me because we were talking about guilt. So for me, the question was, is guilt good or bad? Sometimes I feel that it is good too, because without that, you don't change yourself. I mean, you do something bad, and if you really don't feel guilty, then you tend to do do the same thing again. So,
I'm
I
glad
mean,
you mentioned it. And that is, by the way, the popular understanding of guilt. I'm
mhm,
not a psychologist, but I'm coming to this after listening to, just like reading a lot, understanding a lot. And of course, we guilt others. It's the famous, that word, guilt tripping. And we also are victims of guilt. So, this self awareness that we're talking about, is to understand that guilt, yes, it's a human emotion, but in the list of all the human emotions that we feel, it's the lowest. It's the last. So naturally, if you see a child and he drops something, and the mom just says, "What? You dropped," and the guilt they have. I mean, my puppy has guilt. Like when I say
mhm.
"boo," and he like looks at me. So to assume that people don't have guilt is, you're talking more now in the realm of sociopaths who they don't feel guilt, they don't experience it. So
Oh,
naturally, we all by default have guilt in us, but we don't use that as a springboard. We live there and we suffer there, and most of the people die there because we think with this misunderstanding that being guilty is going to make us better.
okay. How do you
The
use guilt
proactive,
is the
yeah.
most
So
important thing.
for that we will have another session and discuss evidence. There's science, and for me, whatever we talk, I love to share the science and the psychology that's backing this up. It's not someone making it up.
Mhm, yeah,
It's
yep.
to shatter the popular opinion that, oh, you must feel guilty, you must make, I believe that too. That, but guilt, what it is like keeping the trash can in front of you and smelling it, and now go on to do great things.
Okay. Makes
When
sense.
do we need to drop? So yes, there's a purpose, and that's served. Now, what is the proactive, choices are we making next? The more we talk about the guilt, the more we live in it, there's nothing that's happening. There's no proactivity, there's no positivity going on just
Yeah,
because.
but one thing in my life I realized is, I mean, I do things that I'm guilty of, but when I speak to them about, when I open myself up with my friends or anybody, that that will go down. The impact of it is going
Yes,
down. It will go
yes,
down. Like the more people know about your guilt, the more, the less impact it will have.
yes, because you're not judging yourself. And in
Mhm.
my coaching program, when the clients were not sharing that they had a dessert at a wedding or something, they were keeping that guilt. Any
Yeah.
stored guilt is now, any unshared topic like that or emotion like that becomes stored inside you. So
Mhm.
when I shared that it's actually okay, when you enjoy whatever you're eating, you're actually satisfied. When you feel guilty, you feel so guilty, you want to eat more. You're like, okay, now that I'm in the wrong road, let me have more. So the guilt actually traps us in whatever negativity that we're feeling guilty about. It's a, you understand? It's like a quicksand.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, so let's talk about this and how to get out of the guilt, or even how to use guilt for a short time as a tool. It's not a place, it's not a house to live in, but it's a tool, and a tool is not something you carry around whole day, even for an
Right,
hour, right? Get the job done, you're action oriented, you do the next positive action, you're done with the tool. There's no more talk about it. So
right.
yes, I'd love to explore this in our next session.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I will try and join for sure. It is yeah, a good session. Learned something. Thank you
Thank,
and nice
thank,
meeting
thank you so much, Vijay.
you. Bye.
Bye.